Good morning, good morning, good morning, or good afternoon, depending on when you're watching this. Dr. T here with a lesson for you guys. You know what I want to talk about? Accountability. Do you guys know? It's a big word, especially for kindergarten, first grade. Accountability. You'll hear this your whole life. Be accountable. Are you accountable for your words? Are you accountable for your actions? Are you accountable for what you did? The word accountability means to take ownership and admit your actions, your decisions, your words, and what comes of them affect people, and you are responsible for the outcomes and the consequences, whether they're good outcomes, bad outcomes, good consequences, bad consequences. These are the results of what you say and do. So we're going to talk about accountability and taking ownership, because I've been having a lot of conversations because people have things happen to them because of what they did or said, and then they want to be mad, they want to be sad, they want to say life isn't fair. Well, such and such did this and such did that. Let's learn right now. Things are not always fair, but one thing is true. You are responsible for you. I don't care what happened with somebody else. I don't care what somebody else said. I don't care the outcome of what happened with somebody else's situation. I have to worry about me. Therefore, I'm responsible for how I treat people. I'm responsible for how I talk to people. I'm responsible for my behavior. And if I have made poor decisions that have resulted in consequences and outcomes that are negative, whose fault is that? That's my fault. That's not my mom's fault. It's not my dad's fault. It's not the teacher's fault. It's not the classmate to your left, not the classmate to your right. You got to stop blaming. We are going to start taking accountability and owning our behavior. And that comes with consequences. So, a couple points I want to make with this. The number one thing we all hear, especially the teachers, when they are holding you accountable, number one, the blame game. You want to blame, well, they did this, so I did that. They said this, so I said that. They hurt my feelings, so I did this. I was mad, so I said that. I didn't get this, so I did that. Wrong, 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 wrong. All those choices are wrong. All of them. I don't care, I don't care, I don't care. You are responsible for what you say and do. Stop blaming people. When you get held accountable, or when a teacher is talking to you about your choices, stop blaming other students. I don't care that you were up late. I don't care that your mom was yelling at you because you was messing around this morning when you was getting dressed and they heard your feelings. I don't care if the bus was loud. I don't care if you didn't like the breakfast. I don't care what the kid on the other side of the room is. I don't care. At the end of the day, the world will show you now and when you get older, what matters is, what did you do? Don't talk about what anybody else, because that's their problem. What did you do? Don't tell me anything else. People know when they come in here and they know they are in trouble, and they start their story with, well, Michael said, Malik said, Eric, I cut them off. Don't tell me nothing about them. Tell me about you. Because they not in here. You in here. Learn to accept you are responsible for your choices and stop blaming people. The world don't care about your blame, and neither does Evergreen. Be responsible. Number two, let's say you are honest. Let's say you accept responsibility. Let's say you admit to what you did. You were honest. You made a poor choice. Teacher found out. Teacher calls you over. You are honest and you say, you know what? I did it. I'm sorry. I said it. I'm sorry. I did get upset and I did this or did that. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have done that. I'll apologize. And you actually even excuse me, apologize, which is part of the process. Does that mean since you're being accountable, there will be no consequences? No. You will still have consequences, even when you do what you're supposed to, which is apologize. Even when you admit how you were wrong. Even when you admit what you did that caused this situation, and you really mean the apology. That doesn't mean you should have no consequences. This is how we learn. This is how we grow. This is how we mature. It's because we learn from these moments. And consequences is what teaches us what to do and say and what not to do and say. Now, the third point, own it. If you said it, admit it. If you did it, admit it. Don't try to blame somebody or say, well, this is who else was there. I was just standing there. Nah, admit what you did. If you said an inappropriate word, admit it. If you said a bad, called somebody a name, you did it. If you pushed, you did it. If you lied, you did it. If you cheated on something, you did it. Own what you did. There's nothing more frustrating than we as educators. When we already know the truth, we already know what you did. We already know. I'll say 8 times out of 10, if we, the adults here, ask you about a situation, we already know what you did. We just want to see if you are you ready? Tell the truth. Are you going to look your teacher or myself, principal, any adult, and they ask you what happened? Some of y'all are way too comfortable being dishonest, not telling the truth. And that will make people, as you get older, lose respect for you because they know you're not honorable. They know you will look them in their face and lie. I always say this to students. Above all else, there's nothing worse in this world than a liar. Own what you do. Own what you say. You did it, stand on it, as y'all say. Stand on business. Doesn't mean consequences aren't coming. Doesn't mean it wasn't your fault, because it is. But own what you did. Be a principal. Acknowledge what you did, what you said, admit it, and then deal with the consequence. Number 4, think before you act. I'm going to say that 2 more times. Think before you act. 1 more time. Think before you act. When I was a student, when I was a little boy, my struggle was I would operate and make decisions based on how I felt, and I didn't think. And sometimes I ended up in trouble because I was only worried a bit about how I felt. Well, you know what? I'm not the only one in the world. I'm not the only one with feelings. My part of the story is not the only part of the story. There's somebody else involved or other people involved, and they may feel differently than me. So I can't just act based on I'm upset. I can't just act based on I'm sad. I can't just act based on the fact that I'm angry. You know why? Because then you're not thinking. You need to think about these choices you're going to make before you make them. How will this affect you if you do this? How will this affect your classmates if you do this? How will it affect your parents, your grandparents, your teacher? You need to think about all those things before you just decide, I'm mad, so I'm doing this. I promise you, you will find yourself in a lot of trouble in life if you're always operating on how you feel. Not to say that your feelings aren't warranted, that they're not true, that they're not even accurate, but you got to consider everybody involved. You can't just say, oh, I'm mad, so I'm tearing stuff up. That's not what we do. Now, on the flip side, because this is what we're seeing in Evergreen that we have to change. Lack of accountability, because we talked about what accountability looks like. This is what we're seeing. We're seeing a lack of accountability. And this is not just for fourth graders. This is from kindergarten on up. Number one, not doing what you're supposed to be doing. Let's start right there. You know what you're supposed to be doing. You know what the teacher instruction was. You know what the rules are here. You know what the expectations are here. You know how you're supposed to treat people, respect ourselves, respect others, respect our environment. So look at not doing what you're supposed to be doing. This is not preschool. You're not babies. You know what you're supposed to be doing, and don't sulk and be sad when you're held accountable. That's number one. Lack of accountability. Accountability is not doing what you're supposed to be doing. And then when the teacher calls you out, you over there talking about, oh, I didn't know. Oh, I forgot. Well, I didn't understand. Nope, not buying it. Negative. Number two, act as if the bad result is not your responsibility. So you made a bad choice. You did something wrong. You offended somebody. You broke a rule. And then you have a consequence and you want to be mad that you were held accountable. Where'd that make sense? How'd that make sense? You did what you did. You were wrong. The adult in the situation held you accountable. And now you want to say that's unfair. That's not right. The teacher's being mean. No. You're being held accountable. There will be a consequence. That's a part of growing. Stop acting as if the consequence is not your fault. Number three, when we're talking about lack of accountability, we talked about this earlier, plays the blame game. It's always somebody else's fault. Now, I see this a lot with the first graders and the second graders when we have our conversations. The first thought is to always say, well, such and such said this, they did this, they said that, da. Never, ever getting to the part, what you do wrong. Don't tell me about none of that other stuff. What did you do wrong? Nope, don't want to hear that part. Nope, don't want to hear that part. Don't even care about that part. Tell me what you did. Let's talk about your choices. And then let's review your choices. And then let's maybe come up with other options when these scenarios happen again. When this situation happens again, are you going to make the same bad choice or are you going to make a better choice because you're thinking it through? Number four, making excuses for not finishing a task. I had a conversation with a student early this morning when the students were coming in. And I said, you do your homework? Oh, I left my folder at home. I said, but your book bag's on your back. Why ain't your folder in your book bag? I don't know. Oh, my mom. And then it became a whole list of excuses. No, you just didn't do what you were supposed to do. Period. And that's going to create problems for you as you get older. Because no one cares about excuses. No one. I have someone to answer to. The other adults have someone to answer to. I can't come into work, not do anything I'm supposed to do, and then say, oh, well, I had a headache yesterday, so I decided that I'm not going to do anything that I'm supposed to do. You think my boss would care about that? Do you think your teachers care about your excuses? Not that things don't happen, not that things don't come up, because they certainly do. Life does happen. But I'm talking about when you get to making excuses for not taking care of your business. So Evergreen, I want you guys to be more accountable. Take ownership. Admit what you did. Acknowledge that your actions, decisions, and how they play a role in the outcome and consequences. You do good, you get good. You do bad, you get bad. Don't blame others when you get bad. Don't be mean because you have consequences. Don't be sad when you get held out of stuff because you know you made a poor choice. Let's think before we act. I'm gonna say it one more time. Let's think before we act. It will keep you out of a lot of trouble. All right, Dr. T, I'm out. The holidays are coming. I'm gonna go have some cocoa with Snoopy and enjoy these festivities. Stay well, Evergreen.